Today we bring you stars who served in the British Army. Kenneth Connor. His father organised concert parties, and it was in one of his father's shows in Portsmouth that Connor first appeared when he was just 2 years old. He had his own act by the time he was 11 and would perform in solo act as well as in doubles act with his brother in different revue shows. He made up his mind to pursue acting seriously and attended the Central School of Speech and Drama. At the acting school, he received a gold medal. In December 1936, Connor made his professional acting debut at His Majesty's Theatre with J.M. Barrie's The Boy David. He was enlisted in the Second World War and served the Middlesex Regiment as an infantry gunner. During such stint he also toured and performed with the Stars in Battle Dress Concert Party and the Ensa in Italy and the Middle East. He later worked with Bristol Old Vic and thereafter became associated with Old Vic Company for the 1947-48 season at the New Theatre. There he performed in several plays, including The Government Inspector and St. Joan. He featured in the BBC-aired Ted Ray's Sunday lunchtime domestic comedy radio show Raise a Laugh. He also featured with Ray on the latter's TV shows. He was born on June 6, 1918 in Highbury, London, England. He died on November 28, 1993 in South Harrow, London, England. Richard Marner. Molchanov, nicknamed Sasha by his family, was the eldest son of Colonel Pavel Molchanov, of the Semyonovsky Regiment, one of two that were set up for children of children who had played with Peter the Great of Russia. In 1924, his entire family left the Soviet Union and went to Finland and then Germany, before ending up in Britain and London, where Alexander's grandmother, Olga Novikov, known in the family as Babushka London, lived in Harley Street. After being educated at Monmouth School in Wales, Molchanov became an assistant to the Russian tenor Vladimir Rosing, where he performed at Covent Garden. During World War II he joined the RAF, and was posted to South Africa with the Air Training Corps. After being invalided out, he changed his name to Richard Marner and began his long successful career as a stage and film actor. He was born on March 27, 1921 in Petrograd, Russia. He died on March 18, 2004 in Perth, Scotland, United Kingdom. If you like the video, don't forget to leave your like, subscribe to get more content. Also click on the bell to know when we upload new video. Talfryn Thomas. He trained as an instrument mechanic but joined the local amateur dramatic society. During World War II, he joined the Royal Air Force, RAF, and was a rear gunner on a Lancaster bomber, flying on multiple raids into Germany. After surviving a crash in which all the other crew members were killed, he took up acting partly as therapy for the trauma, before training as an actor in the London Academy of Music and Dramatic Art, LAMDA. He was born on October 31, 1922 in Swansea, Wales. He died on November 1982 in Cardiff, Wales. Felix Bowness. He was an English comedy actor best remembered for his portrayal of the jockey Fred Quilly in the BBC sitcom Hi-de-Hi. Born in the village of Harwell, Berkshire, to French-Canadian parents, he became a bantamweight boxing champion. At the outbreak of the Second World War, he joined the Royal Berkshire Regiment as a signalman. At the D-Day landings in Normandy, after his landing craft was hit and sunk, he only remembered waking in a French convent. During recovery he attended a Vera Lynn concert, after which she gave him a singing lesson. Bowness returned to Britain and started performing on the touring comedy circuit, undertaking 2 summer seasons at Clacton-on-Sea Pier in 1948-49, being replaced in 1950 by Tony Hancock. He eventually broke into films and television in the early 1960s and supplemented his income by becoming a well-used warm-up act for television shows including Morecambe and Wise, Home to Roost, The Two Ronnies, and later Sir Terry Wogan's Chat Show Wogan. The warm-up act for This Is Your Life, Bowness himself was the subject of an edition of This Is Your Life in 1985. He was born on March 30, 1922 in Harwell, Berkshire, England. He died on September 4, 2009 in Woodley, Reading, Berkshire, England. Richard Attenborough. The eldest of three sons of Mary Attenborough, née Clegg, a founding member of the Marriage Guidance Council, and Frederick Levi Attenborough, a scholar and academic administrator who was a fellow at Emmanuel College, Cambridge, and wrote a standard text on Anglo-Saxon law. Attenborough was educated at Wigston Grammar School for Boys in Leicester and studied at RADA. In September 1939, the Attenboroughs took in two German Jewish refugee girls, Helga and Irene Bijak, aged 9 and 11 respectively, who lived with them in College House and were adopted by the family after the war when it was discovered that their parents had been killed. The sisters moved to the United States in the 1950s and lived with an uncle, where they married and took American citizenship. Irene died in 1992 and Helga in 2005. During the Second World War, Attenborough served in the Royal Air Force. After initial pilot training, he was seconded to the newly formed Royal Air Force Film Production Unit at Pinewood Studios, under the command of Flight Lieutenant John Bolting, whose brother Peter Coates later directed Attenborough in the play The Mousetrap, where he appeared with Edward G. Robinson in the propaganda film Journey Together, 1943. He then volunteered to fly with the film unit and after further training, where he sustained permanent ear damage, qualified as a sergeant, flying on several missions over Europe, filming from the rear gunner's position to record the outcome of RAF Bomber Command sorties. He was born on August 9, 1923 in Cambridge, Cambridgeshire, England. He died on August 24, 2014 in London, England. Matt Busby. Busby was born to Alexander and Helen Nellie Busby, née Greer, in a two-roomed pitman's cottage in the mining village of Orbiston, Belshire, Lanarkshire. When he was born, Busby's mother was told by the doctor, "A footballer has come into this house today." Busby's father was a miner, but was called up to serve in the First World War, being killed by a sniper's bullet on the 23rd of April 1917 at the Battle of Arras. 3 of his uncles were killed in France with the Cameroon Highlanders. Busby's mother was left to raise Matt and his 3 sisters alone until her marriage to a man called Harry Matthew in 1919. Busby would often accompany his father down into the coal pits, but his true aspiration was to become a professional footballer. In his 1973 autobiography, Busby described himself as being as football mad as any other boy in Belshire, citing in particular the impression made on him by Alex James and Hughie Gallagher. His mother might have quashed those dreams when she applied to emigrate with Matt to the United States in the late 1920s, but he was granted a reprieve by the 9-month processing time. In the meantime, Busby got a full-time job as a collier and played football part-time for Stirlingshire junior side Denny Hibernian. He had played only a few matches for Denny Hibs, but it was not long before he was signed up by a Manchester City side that was a couple of games away from regaining promotion to the First Division. During the Second World War, Busby served as a football coach in the Army Physical Training Corps, and the experience resulted in Liverpool offering him the job of assistant to their then manager George Kay. However, the experience had also forged Busby's opinions about how football should be played and governed, and when it became clear that they differed from those of the Liverpool board, their chairman Billy McConnell allowed Busby to pursue alternative employment. After Manchester United had tried to sign Busby from Manchester City in 1930, he became good friends with United's fixer, Louis Rocker. Their relationship was helped by the fact that both were members of the Manchester Catholic Sportsmen's Club. United were in desperate need of a manager to take over from club secretary Walter Crickmere after the war, and a board meeting was called in December 1944 so as to ascertain who that new manager might be. Knowing that Liverpool had already offered Busby a job, Rocker convinced the United board to leave it to him and immediately wrote a letter to Busby, addressed to his army regiment. The letter was vague, referring only to a job, just in case it fell into the wrong hands, namely the Liverpool officials. In February 1945, still in uniform, Busby turned up at Cornbrook Cold Storage, one of the United chairman James W. Gibson's businesses at Trafford Park, to discuss the contents of Rocker's letter with the chairman. Busby requested that he be directly involved in training, pick the team on match days and even choose the players to be bought and sold without interference from the club directors, who, he believed, did not know the game as well as he did. Such a level of control over the team was unprecedented in the English game, but the United chairman was in no position to argue. Busby was originally offered a 3-year contract but managed to secure himself a 5-year deal after explaining that it would take at least that long for his revolution to have a tangible effect. The contract was signed that day, the 19th of February 1945, but it was not until 1 October that Busby officially took over the reins at Manchester United. He was born on May 26, 1909 in Orbiston, Belshire, Scotland. He died on January 20, 1994 in Cheadle, Greater Manchester, England.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave your like. Please press the button to subscribe and support our channel. Also click on the bell to know when we upload new video. Which other topic would you like to find in our channel? Leave us your comments and suggestions.